half an hour in the first half and they made it difficult for us. They will say a draw's about right. I feel we've probably have 2 out there. What are your thoughts, Jeremy?
Well, I just feel Wolves came with a game plan. You know, they decide to be very compact, play on counter-attack, and you know, managed to score in the first half, which obviously made it very difficult for Arsenal then to chase the game. We know that first half is Arsenal's strongest point, so we hoped that in the second half we were going to see a bit more, and you know, it hasn't been great. I feel we could have pushed a bit more, and you know, I just feel at the end the draw is kind of fair result, really.
Jeremy, we will let you depart. Enjoyed your company as per usual. We will let Jeremy head off down to our Arsenal Nation studio, so a little bit more chat from Jeremy to come. We're going to bring Rob Kelly in. Let's see if we can sort the headphones out. We're going to bring Rob Kelly in. Rob, your thoughts on that 1-1 draw?
Pretty frustrating, all in all, really. I didn't think really at any point we were anywhere near our best. I thought we sort of upped the pressure when we really had to, but I think there was, you know, if it weren't for Bernd Leno, we'd be leaving here empty-handed.
It's strange, isn't it? Because there was a big push towards the end of the game, but you do get that sense that Bernd Leno has made some brilliant saves in this match. Not just at the end when he got a bit frantic, but in the first half as well.
Yeah, he made that double save in the first half, didn't he? He made another one from, who was it, Costa, or someone who cut in from the left as well. He was our best player, I think, by a distance today. And, you know, Wolves, for all the pressure we had, Wolves had 2 big chances in injury time. And, you know, is it a slight bit of naivety to have given away those chances? Because if we'd come away having not even got a point today, having sort of worked so hard to get back into the game, I think it would have been criminal, really. So
1-1 draw always feels a little bit sour at home going into an international break. Is the positive that we keep the unbeaten run going?
Yes, I suppose, yeah. If you're going to look optimistically at it, it's that we are still unbeaten. But I think 3 draws in a row. I mean, there's so much, you know, a week ago where everyone was so encouraged by that 1-1 draw against Liverpool. But obviously the Sporting Lisbon game was a bit of a really disappointing game, and obviously the Danny Welbeck incident was a big issue for us. And then today we never really got out of second gear. Really, I didn't think it was just, to me, this was more disappointing than Lisbon in midweek.
Are we any closer to finding out why we haven't led a Premier League game at half-time this season? Is it actually become a thing? I mean, I just thought it was a bit of a coincidence for the first half dozen games, but it starts to go on and on and on. And why is it we're not starting on the front foot? Why are we going in either at half-time level, or indeed, as we were today, a goal down?
Yeah, it's a weird one, yeah. Who knows? I don't know whether, as you say, it's become a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, really. It's a hard one. I mean, we started so brightly against Liverpool a week ago, and we were just playing a top-class side. That's the reason, probably, that we weren't winning at half-time. But, you know, today we didn't have that intensity from the start. I thought Wolves were excellent. You've got to say they were sort of one of the most impressive sides I think I've seen here this season. You know, along with the likes of City and Liverpool. They were just so organised and so good at getting men behind the ball and making life difficult for us. I just didn't think that we really had the inspiration to. We didn't have enough, and it wasn't clicking for us today. And I think Unai Emery will obviously be spending the next couple of weeks looking at how we can try and fix this problem where we're making slow starts.
The contrast between rotating players and not rotating players was on the pitch today. Wolves barely changed. Nearly every single one of their starting lineup has played every single game. There has been minor tweaks to the Wolves lineup in their 12 Premier League games here. For Arsenal, it's half a dozen every time. Now, that's because we've got Europa League and League Cup as well. Only 1 change from the previous league game. But do you think that we got it right from the start in terms of formation, in terms of the players that we use? Should we have maybe made a few more changes, not as many? How did you see that?
I was pretty happy with the starting lineup. The one issue that I really had was Alex Iwobi sort of being asked to play out on the right, because I think he's far more effective on the left.
On the other side.
I mean, I think, you know, it's easy to say because Wolves have come here and got a point, but I think that you'll be able to judge Wolves, and if they're keeping the same team, I think we'll see how they go in the sort of last third of the season, because they're going to be knackered by then. So I think, you know, there's a reason that the big clubs rotate all the time, is to keep players fresh, and I don't think that Unai Emery could be criticised for. I mean, there weren't many players out there who I thought should have started the game that didn't.
Lacazette and Aubameyang in the second half played as a 2 down the middle. Not seen that before. We've seen them play on the pitch together. Obviously, Aubameyang plays on the left-hand side. We've seen Danny Welbeck play up front in the two as well. However, did they really click when they played as a partnership, or was it just a bit too frantic? We couldn't really work it out.
It's pretty frantic, wasn't it? You know, I think the relationship they've got on the pitch, we've seen them combine brilliantly at times this season and last as well. So I think if you put them as a two up front, you give them a certain amount of time to do it, then I think they could fire as a partnership. Today probably isn't the best time to judge them.
Yeah, maybe the best time to judge Wolves though, because they've taken points off Man City, off Manchester United and Arsenal. Tough nuts to crack. Bernd Leno, man of the match, potentially, we reckon.
100% for me.
Interesting today. We go into the international break off the back of yet another draw. Much to discuss. Many thanks to Rob Kelly. All yours.
Well, thank you, guys. Yeah, I think frustration sums up the mood in the Arsenal Nation studio right now. Jeremy has joined us back in here, as has Sharky. Jeremy, I'm going to come to you first because you in particular seem very disappointed by the result and the performance, maybe.
Yeah, disappointed by the result, obviously, and the performance as well. I just, you know, at the end of the game, you kind of feel like you want to say that we should have won the game, but watching that game, you kind of think that 1-1 is a fair result, really. You know, when you see the chances that Wolves had at the end of the game, and the fact that we're talking about Leno being the man of the match, that's kind of sum it up, you know, that he's obviously had too much to do for my liking, yeah.
It does. Well, everything he did do was so very impressive. That double stop in the first half, and of course that one at the right of the death from Traoré as well. And that's what you guys are picking up on at home. Leno, man of the match, clearly, really was no question, was there? Ramina says he's given a man of the match performance today many times when we could have gone down even more, but he did stay at 1-0. Fire and I said Leno is the best. Sharky, how impressed were you? Simon also saying there he's exceptional. How impressed were you? We talked about him at half time, but again he was called into action numerous times in the second half, and he was there when we needed him.
Yeah, he saved us so many times. Like I said, the goal we conceded wasn't his fault, and we could have conceded more goals if it wasn't for him. Like, we got that point because he did save us so many times, and he had the best performance I've seen him in an Arsenal shirt so far.
I've got to be honest, this is the flattest I've seen Sharky. Come on, the unbeaten run has still continued. What about you, Jeremy? How impressed were you? Because he's so quick off his line, isn't he? He's so brave. He kind of he was faced up to quite a few shots in that second half and in the first half, and he wasn't afraid of any of them. Yeah,
he's got no fear. You can see, listen, as a goalkeeper, you've got to have no fear because you're obviously getting to challenges on set pieces, etc. But yeah, the save that he made today, you can see how fast he is, come off his line, how, you know, he jumped into the striker's feet, and yeah, no, he's been great, and it's just a shame that we talk about the goalkeeper. You know, I would like to talk about, you know, scoring goals, but yeah, no, he's been great, kept us in the game second half, and yeah, he's obviously the man of the match. He saved 2 points really today, and you know, hopefully we'll carry on having him in that form for the next few games. Yeah.
Well, he is the man of the match, very much the man of the moment, and we have been speaking to him post-match.
We lose, so the result is, is for the performance okay.
A couple of big saves from yourself, one in particular at 1-0 just before we scored. How important was that?
Yeah, I think the second goal, if we concede the second goal, the game is finished, so it was important to concede just one goal, so we had the chance to at least to draw. And at the end we could win this game.
16 games unbeaten now. I guess the important thing is to get back to winning ways after the international break.
Yeah, I think of course we are 16 games unbeaten, but we have to win the games because the games at home are very important. Today, it's a little bit. The result is a little bit disappointed.
Ben, thank you.
Well, it is, of course, 2 games in a row in the league now where we've left it late to get equalisers. And the slow first halves is something that you guys have been picking up on social media. James here has written us a fairly long tweet, and he said, I feel like the day when these hellish first halves are going to catch up with Emery. A change of system hasn't brought any verve or invention to Arsenal. They lack dynamism to break between the lines. I wonder if Ramsey could change that. Looks like we're about to find out. That was obviously posted just before Aaron Ramsey did come on. And this one as well pretends to be shocked about Arsenal getting a late goal. That obviously came after the goal from Luke. We did leave it late. We did get the goal. But Jeremy, do you feel like the first week there's a bit of a point behind that potentially we are starting a little bit too slow? And although it didn't catch up with us today, it could do if we continue in that trend.
For sure. Listen, it's been the story of the season. We've always underperformed the first half, apart against Liverpool, where I would say that we started really well and played the full game. But that was only one game, and I just feel all the first half I've been disappointed, and we've made up in the second half. But you can't. It's not going to happen like this every weekend. And Aubameyang, Lacazette were on incredible form, scoring goals all the time. Today they didn't, and you kind of feel that when they have a game when they're not at the top, then we don't really get back into the game. It's put a lot of pressure on them, and at the end, you just feel like that first half performance is always letting us down.
Well, it's something that you guys on social media have been discussing and saying it's a worrying trend. This tweet in particular from Jared. This was actually, again, posted before we did equalise. Goals drying up. It's actually 6 in 5 games on track. Obviously now, the second straight now, we did score 1 win in 5. 3 draws, obviously, in a week. But let's flip this around a little bit, Sharky. I want to inject some positivity. The fact that we did come back again late, yes, we left it late. Yes, there is improvements that need to be made. But the fact that there is that mentality, they don't give up. 2 weeks in a row now, we have managed to find that goal.
Yeah, no, I could see it towards like the last 10 minutes. I started hope that we'd score. I started faith because you could just see we're playing like direct. We weren't giving up. We were trying our hardest. It's a weird one. It's weird. I feel weird. Do you know what I mean? It's like I feel like we were lucky to get the point because Wolves did do their job really, really well. But then also, I'm kind of like frustrated because we had some really good chances. Lacazette had a shot blocked early on. Aubameyang had like a ball across the box. That could have gone in. Bellerin on his left foot. So we had. It's weird because I feel like, we luckily got that point. And then we didn't. But then we also didn't finish our chances. I think we needed Jeremy on the pitch today. I think that's what we needed today.
It would have been nice, wouldn't it? Well, I actually sat with Sharky during the game, and it's safe to say he lived and breathed every single chance. And I actually did catch him a little bit off guard and posted this video. This was just after Arsenal had missed a glorious chance midway through the second half. Yeah, you didn't know this was coming, did you? Let's take a little look if we can now.
Reaction to that.
That's pretty much how you spent the second half,
That was
wasn't
me
it?
the whole way through.
That's not me laughing at the result. That's me just laughing at Sharky. That kind of sums up how you were feeling, doesn't it, I think?
Yeah, literally. It was just the wave of emotions that whole game, man. I was just stressed.
You were?
I don't know. I just want to win. I just want to win games. So yeah, no. But
does that kind of sums up how Arsenal, I think, are feeling about November at the moment a little bit as well, doesn't it? This is a tweet, a GIF even that we had in, and it's just this bloke taking his glasses off. Can we just get into December already?
Yeah, please.
I want to take a little look at some of the stats as well with you, Jeremy, because it's on the corner of the screen now. Does it worry you a little bit that the shots on target, less than Wolves, only 3 all game? But equally, could that be down to how well Wolves did defend? But should we be having more than that at home? It's a bit of a tough one.
Yeah, I guess it's when you see that we've had 10 shots and only 3 are on target, and that's kind of disappointed. But at the end, a lot of people talk about the possession, which is great. But at the end, look, we've got 72% of possession, but they've had more shots and more on target. So it kind of make you feel like, well, where did we have the possession? And possession for me aren't really the major thing. But to go back to what you were saying earlier on about the team spirit and how well. Because like we said, we've got to keep positive, and it's still a 16-game unbeaten.
Yeah, we need to remember that. Let's remember that.
We've got to keep the positive out of it, and I'm, extremely surprised to see how the boys always carry on playing, and like we said, even if we 1-0 down at 10 minutes to go, we still believe we're going to get back into that game and even win it, which that is a massive, strong character from the team, from the manager. The changes that he makes always kind of change the game. It's Mkhitaryan scoring today again, and he came off the bench. So
I wanted to bring that up with you as well, because we talked actually at half-time about Alex Iwobi being great and all of the chances coming through him, and we were all, I think it's safe to say, a little bit surprised to see him come off at half-time. But is that refreshing? Is that something you like to see Unai literally just going for it? He is decisive in his changes, and when he wants to change things, when he's not happy, he just changes it.
It's weird. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know, maybe there's like an injury, a niggle he had or something, because I think that's the only thing that makes sense. Because we were literally just talking about him before we went out to the second half. We were saying how everyone's going through Iwobi in the first half. Second half, all he has to do is like get that clinical pass. and then the game half started and Vinicius come on for him. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's an injury thing, maybe it's a tactical thing, we don't know. But it is different. We are still trying to get used to this whole random changes because it's new for us. So.
Well, in Unai, we trust. We did get the point in the end, of course. Let's have a little look about more of your comments on social media now. So many of them coming in and such a mood change in the last few minutes. Actually, before we do that, we'll have a little look at how the table stands after that, I believe. Oh, no, these are the results. Sorry, I'm getting very confused. So much to show you guys. Obviously, Liverpool running out 2-0 winners over Fulham earlier today. Chelsea held to a goalless draw at home to Everton. Good news for Arsenal as well. Man City winning the 177th Manchester derby. Anything that particularly surprises you boys there? This is how it leaves us as well. 5th, 4 points behind Spurs. Oh, Sharky, you're not too happy about that. But we're still very much in there. It's all very tight there in the top 5. No?
I think the top 4 is tighter than fourth and fifth. I think there's 4 points in between us. It just annoys me because I know Chelsea dropped points. So if we got the 3 points today, it would have just been so much better. I think, but I do think we're still they're not running away with it, top 4. So.
If I'm going to flip that round, because I'm not used to Sharky being this kind of down, you're going to flip that round. Wolves held Manchester City as well, and we've just seen that I think Manchester City are on 32 points.
They did, yeah.
Kind of leading at the top of the table at the moment. So if you're going to flip it around, I don't think we're going to be the first, and we probably won't be the last to be held by them, Jeremy.
Yeah, no, listen. They've drew against City, United and us now. They've took points off the big teams. So they're obviously a team that do well against the top teams. So, like you said, I won't be surprised if when they play, Liverpool, Spurs. Well, they've played Spurs last week and lost, but they were very close of getting something at the game as well. So
I suppose it's kind of the mentality, isn't it? When you play a newly promoted team at home, the mentality is you kind of look at that as a game that you hope you can win. But I suppose Wolves have kind of bucked the trend a little bit, the way they've taken to the Premier League this year. Now, let's see a few more comments from what you guys have been saying. I believe they will come up. Yes, they will come up this time. Timothy says, lack of intensity and urgency. This is something that keeps coming up. This is the problem. That is the problem against Liverpool. Arsenal played with much more intensity. But, of course, thumbs up to Bernard Leno. Richard Dent says, I thought we were awful. Well, this is kind of really quite extreme, but entitled to his opinion. No ideas, no bite up front, totally toothless, and front two hardly involved. I think this goes back to what you said, Jeremy, about if they don't score, it puts quite a lot of pressure on them, doesn't it, on Ober and Laka?
Listen, I was there no long ago talking about the stats of Aubameyang and Lacazette, and that for the shot rate, like scoring compared to how many shots they get, it was just incredible stats. And that's you can't have this all season. No. At some point, you're just going to be not, us performing. You've got an off day, whatever happened, and like you say, it puts so much pressure on them guys because everybody just think, well, we've got Aubameyang and Lacazette. That's it. They're going to score every game, which doesn't happen.
That's why you need the other guys to step up.
And then the problem we've got is when they don't score, then we look a bit vulnerable. We don't really know where the goals are coming from.
Well, everyone's going to be searching for an explanation as to why it didn't quite work today. And we've had this one in from Julian saying, playing Europa League on Thursday. This is something I actually mentioned to Sharky at half-time, saying about Europa League Thursday, Sunday, against a team which has been resting a week is a factor. Gianfranco Zola actually said the same ahead of Chelsea's game with Everton today. Is this a viable excuse? Because we did make changes on Thursday night. Some players have had a chance to rest, but maybe it's mentally tiring. Jeremy, you've played the game. Do you kind of subscribe to that view?
Not that early in the season, I don't think. I just think them guys are just fit and ready to play midweek and Saturday. If it's Wednesday, Saturday or Thursday, Sunday, you just get maybe an extra day for Wolves to kind of recover from last week. But in my opinion, I don't find excuses on that kind of, we've got a strong team, like you said.
Strong squad now as well.
Yeah, strong squad. We've got a lot of players. Unai Emery rotates a lot as well, so nobody can say, I've been playing the last, 6 games, 90 minutes, Thursday, Sunday. Nobody does. They all kind of rotate and get recovery at some point. So, I would not use that as an excuse.
Jeremy's not having any of that. Sorry, Julian. Now, it is that time of the show where I come to you for your final thoughts. I want one word to sum up that game. I reckon I know the kind of mood you both are in, particularly you, Sharky. So I'm going to come to you first, Jeremy. What's your one word to sum that up?
Well, frustrating.
That was in my brain as well. What about you, Sharky?
Disappointing.
Frustrating, disappointing. Do you know what? That was the final thoughts on Thursday as well, and that makes me really sad. Now, do remember, we have kept that unbeaten run up, so there's plenty of reasons still to be optimistic. And of course, now there is the international break, which could have come at a very good time for Unai Emery's side. Plenty of work to be done on the training ground, and of course, plenty of players away on international duty now. Of course, no one really likes the international break if you are an Arsenal fan, because it does mean we have to wait 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks today that we play once again. It's Bournemouth away. I will be back once again in the Arsenal Nation studio, so do make sure you join us. A big thank you to both of our guests in the studio today. Hopefully next time we'll be talking about another win. See you soon.